Okay, dear students, today we'll start new chapter that is matter in our surroundings. Okay, dear students, as we all know, nearby us in our surrounding, there are many materials or many things present. As of now, nearby me, I am having marker, air is nearby me, chairs are there, this wall is there, this board is there, this bulb is there. Each and everything, any material or anything nearby you is made up of matter. Very important. All the things or anything nearby you is made up of matter. Any substance, any material, anything nearby you, all is made up of matter. What is a matter? Anything having mass and occupying space is called as matter. Very important. As taking my own example, I am myself made up of matter. How? I am having some mass, okay, and I am myself consuming a space. Each and everything, even this marker pen is having some mass and it is also occupying some space. So all the things nearby you are made up of matter. And what is a matter? Anything that have mass and occupy space is called as matter. Very important. Just for example, as nearby as there is steel, chair, table, air, stone, milk, anything nearby you, all these things are made up of matter. Yes, as these all things are different, the matter they are made up of is different. Okay, each and everything is made up of matter. Everything. Why? Because all of these things are having mass and space. The matter they are made up of is different. That's why they are having different appearances and properties. So okay, now we will try to learn about few more things about matter. See, matter is made up of particles. Okay, matter is made up of particles. If this is any matter, for example, we can take anything. If I am telling it this is any matter, it means this may be anything, whether it is air, whether it is a stone, whether it is a steel. Each and every matter is made up of particles. Made up of particles. Dear student, in next upcoming chapters, we will come to know that these particles are either atoms or molecules. No need to go that much in depth as of now. We will be studying these things in next chapter. All the things are made up of particle, means all the things are made up of matter, and that matter is made up of particles. Very important. See now, dear students, how we can say, very important in science, whenever we study anything, we need to give evidence. We need to give evidence. How we can say that anything is made up of particle? Very simple. Just take water in a beaker, okay, and just put a single drop of ink or any color in this. See, as of now, you can see this is consuming only this much space, but when you will put it into water, the whole water will get converted into this color. It means the particles of this stuff has got diffused in all the whole complete water. Don't worry, again we will be going through all the things. First of all, we need to see the characteristics of these particles, okay, and one by one we will be seeing how these particles are making the matter or stuff. Very important, all the things are made up of matter. Matter is made up of particles. Very important. Now we need to see the characteristics of these particles. Before we see the characteristics of these particles, we just need to give the evidence that this is made up of particle? Very simple. If we take water, if we take water, now what I have done is that I have put a drop of ink. Let's say this ink. After 5 to 10 minutes, what I saw is that this whole water gets converted into red color. How? So the theory says, or the concept says, is that as water itself is made up of particles, these are particles of water. I put a drop of ink, that is, I have put few particles of ink. What has happened is that these particles got dissociated, and after some time, after some time, these are water particles. And why the complete water has got converted into, why the complete water has got converted into red is that the particles of ink got dissociated thoroughly into the water. That means particles got dissociated, matter is made up of particles. One more thing we get the hint is that when I put the drop of ink, the particles of ink were limited only up to this place. After 5 minutes, we get to see that these particles has thoroughly gone into the liquid medium, that is water. It means they are moving. It means they are moving. So two very simple things we need to know is that any matter is made up of particles. See, don't worry. As of now, we are not aware of the size of the particles. This is a normal property of the matter. Second thing, these particles are moving. My dear student, now you need to understand a very important process, that is diffusion. What is diffusion? Don't worry. Diffusion we need to understand, because diffusion is such a process that again and again I will be using this term diffusion, so it's far better to understand what is diffusion. To fuse, to mix. We'll see what is diffusion. Very important. Diffusion is a process. It is a process in which any two substance gets mixed, and this mixture always tries to make a uniform mixture, make a uniform concentration or mixture. Okay, I will let you know what is this diffusion. See, my dear students, what I was saying is that if there is any substance S1, let's say any substance, let's say milk, let's say this is milk, and there is another material or substance S2, that is water. What it means to say is that if I connect this milk and water to each other, okay, so what will happen is that all the particles of milk will slowly get diffused into water, and all the particles of water will slowly get diffused into milk, and after some time what I will find is that a uniform composition or mixture of milk and water. This is only the process which we call as diffusion. Very important, dear students. Diffusion is a process in which any substance, not only milk and water, any substance tries to mix with another substance. And how this happens is that these particles combine with each other and try to make a uniform mixture. Okay, so very important. Anything, any material, any substance is made up of matter. This matter is made up of particles. these particles keep on moving, and due to this movement they try to do diffusion, means any two substance always try to mix with each other. Very very important. ठीक है dear students. Okay, now we will see characteristics of these particles. Dear student, now we will see characteristics of these particles. Okay, characteristics of particles of matter. Very important. First characteristic is that particles are very very small, or you can say teeny. The size of these particles are very very small. How we can say that? Okay, let's take an example. This is a bucket, okay, having 10 liter of water, not 10, 20 liter of water. What I have done is that I just put one drop of ink, one drop of ink. When I add this machine, we ourselves know water, then this is also made up of many particles, yes or no? Ink is also made up of particles. Why? Because it is a matter, it is a substance. Okay. So when I put this ink into water, what I saw is that water gets black in color. Let's say I put black ink. Then what I did is that I just get to know this small drop of water is having many particles. That's why it got dissociated completely into this area. Yes or no? If it would have been made up of very less particles, then for obviously it would have not dissociated up to this level, and moreover the color would have been more dilute. But I can see that this had made water enough black. It means this single drop is having enough number of particles in this. Very important. If this much drop is having many particles, it means these particles are very very small. Just for example, if in your standard I am putting many healthy African guys, so hardly 20 of the guys will be able to sit in. But if I bring very many small children to sit in your bench, very easily 4 to 5 can come. Yes or no? So similarly, in this single drop, there are many particles, means these particles are very much small. Okay, what I did again is that I just took this much water and again added in 20 liter water. What I saw is that even again this water got a bit black. Again I took this much of water from this bucket and again added into 20 liter fresh water. This also got a bit black in color. It means, see how a single drop is making 60 liter of water into black color, and this water is very much black in color. The best example is that our mothers are using that Ujala drop to wash our white clothes. She only uses one or two drop, but she makes more than 20 liter of water blue in color. Means that small drop is also having many millions of particles into it. So first one is that particles are very very small or teeny. Second property is that particles have space between them. Very important. Second property is that particles have space between them. Okay, if I say that here I have put water, this is water, it means everything is made up of particles, so water is also made up of particles. Okay, what I have done is that I have marked the level. Okay, up to this level water is present in this glass. If I add anything, obviously the level must rise. Yes or no? So what I did is that I added 1 spoon of sugar. 1 spoon of sugar into it. When I add 1 spoon of sugar, obviously this much volume must increase. Very simple. If you jump into a pool, you have seen that the level rises, yes or no? Similarly, if I am adding this sugar into this, the level must rise. But when I mix this into this, I observe that the level is same. Level is same. It means volume hasn't risen. So what I get the hint is that sugar is made up of particles. Yes, when we add these sugar particles into water or when I add sugar into this, obviously there might be some space in which these sugar are taking place, and that's why this level is not rising. If level would have risen, it means there is no space. Very simple. If a bus is having customers, 2 or 3 seats are still empty, no one is sitting there, means no one is sitting on those seats, then 2 or more customers can be added into the bus. But if bus is already filled, then no more persons or customers can be added or made to come into the bus. So very simple. If more customers or more particles are adding into it and the level is not rising, it means there are some empty spaces. Okay. So these particles are having some spaces between them. Third property, these particles are constantly moving. Particles are constantly moving. Very important. Particles are constantly moving means, just for example, if water is there and these are the particles of water, it means any substance particles continuously move, they keep on moving. How we can say that? Very simple. This is my room and here is kitchen. Air is present, so these are present of air, particles of air. Here when my mother cooks a paratha or anything delicious, so these smell particles are present here. But what I observe is that after 5 minutes I can smell this thing at my room. It means these particles from here has came to this place, yes or no? It means particles continuously keep on moving. Second example, if there is water and I just put a drop of ink, but I don't mix, then also what I observe is that I just put the drop of ink, automatically the whole water becomes black. That means these particles are slowly moved to the whole water. Very important. My dear students, this movement is only the reason of diffusion. Very important. We have studied diffusion means two substance or stuff try to mix up. Why? Because these particles are moving. These movement are only the reason for the diffusion. Very important. Fourth property, that these particles matter always attract each other. Very important. Particles of matter always attract each other. It means, for example, if this is water, it is made up of particles. So for sure, these particles are attracting each other. Attracting each other means they try to attract each other, touch each other. Like magnets attract each other, yes or no? Similarly, they also try to attract each other. Very important, dear students. In further classes, we will be studying that this is cohesive force of attraction that will come to in higher standards. How we can say that these things are attracting each other? Very simple. I am not able to break this marker. Why? These particles are highly attracted to each other. Yes, this attraction is different for different things. For example, if I hit into this board, I can't make a hole. Why? Because these particles of the board, these are the particles of the board, they are attracted or stick to each other very much with a very good force. Okay, I am able to move my hand in the air. Why? This is air. These particles are attracted, but this force of attraction is very weak, because of which very easily I can move my fingers in between them. For example, if I stick my these two fingers with a feviquick, you can see I can't separate them. It means these particles, just assume my two fingers as particles, these are attracted to each other with very good force of attraction. But if I can separate them out, it means they are obviously attracted, but this force of attraction is very much weak. Okay, dear students, so very important. See, my dear students, these are the characteristics of particles. Very important. If these characteristics change, many things changes. These characteristics are physical characteristics, because of which they decide the physical state of the matter. Very important. These all properties are just physical properties. Because of these physical properties, physical state is decided. That is, by these properties only, things are in solid state, liquid state, and gaseous state. I am telling you, students, in next chapter we will be studying about the chemical properties of these matter, the particles of this matter. Very important. These chemical properties make chemical products or chemical stuff, that is element, molecule, and compound, that we will get to see in the next chapter. Very important. These all properties are physical properties. These physical properties decide the physical state of matter, that is solid, liquid, and gas. If these property changes, solid to liquid changes, liquid to gas changes. Got it? Solid, liquid, and gas is decided by these properties of particles. Okay. So now one by one we will see what is solid, what is liquid, and what is gas. Very important, dear friends. Before we study solid, liquid, and gas, we just need to understand what is the meaning of term fluid. What is the meaning of term fluid and rigidity? First, we need to see the term fluid. Very important. Any substance or, okay, just take substance, any substance that can flow, any substance that can flow, okay, or change its position or shape by self is called a fluid. Anything that can change its shape, can flow by itself, is known as fluid. For example is water. Example is water. If at a hilltop there is water, automatically it will come down. Yes or no? It will flow, even it will go like this. If I put water into this container, it will be like this. If I put into this container, it will take the shape of like this. So any substance that can flow means any substance which particles can move freely here and there leads to the flow of that material, and that material is known as fluid. In fluid, okay, see dear students, in fluid, first example is water, second example is vapor. As we can see, water vapor. Okay, let's take a very simple example. If I am boiling a water, you can see the water vapor continuously moves up, yes or no? Automatically it keeps on moving. Okay, very important. If I cover this up, then water vapor will be in the up to this area only. If I open the lid, it will go upside, yes or no? So this is fluidity. This is property called fluidity, and fluidity is done by fluids. So what are fluids? Any substance that can flow. That can flow means any material whose particles can by self go here and there. Very important. If I just make water, if I am having a bucket and I make like this, what you will observe, the particles will go here and come down, yes or no? Their shape will change. In bucket, if it is in bucket, its shape is like this, and if I just throw the water down on the floor, its shape will be like this. Similarly, air you see in your LPG cylinder, air is in it. Okay, so when you open the lid, air goes here and there in all the sides. Why? Because water vapor, all these things are able to flow, they have the property of fluidity, whereas this solid don't have any property of fluidity. That's why it can't change its shape, whereas in fluids, shape changes by itself. Okay, dear students, that property is known as fluidity. So okay, now based on these properties, we will what we will write is that we will get to know is that based on the properties of particles, that is physical properties of particles, each and everything can be categorized into three types of matter. Now we will see physical states of matter. There are three physical states of matter, that is solid, liquid and gas. My dear students, again I am telling you, just simple things are there. We have seen that particles of matter are having properties. What are these properties? First one is they move small in size, they attract each other, they keep on moving, they attract each other, and they have space between them. See, these three things are the main things. What? Attraction between the particles, space between the particles, and movement of the particles. These three things decide whether a material will be solid, whether a material will be liquid, or whether a material will be gaseous. If we change this thing, that state of matter changes. So okay, physical states of matter. First of all, we will do solids. What are solids? Very important. Any matter or material in which particles are very close to each other. Seriously. Solids in these particles are very close to each other. See, dear students, solids we will just see by these properties, and all the things that we will be deciding later on. Attraction. In solids, the attraction between particles is very strong. These particles are attracted to each other with a strong bond. The force of attraction is strong. Very important. Force of attraction is strong means they are highly bounded to each other. They are highly bounded to each other. Okay, means they will never let this particle go away. Second thing, space. As they are very much, see, if this force of attraction is very much more, there will be less space. If this is weak, more space. So here the space is less space, and third one is movement. If this particle and this particle are attracted to each other with strong bond, this will never allow this to go anywhere. So movement is very less. Movement is very less. Okay, now see, by these three properties we have to decide many properties of the solid. Particles are very close to each other. Why they are very close to each other? Because they are having very strong force of attraction between them. They have very less space between them, and most important, their movement is also quite less. See, my dear students, as this particle, all the particle are attracted to each other with strong bond, they never let allow the particles to leave their place. So very important, in these particles only vibrate. They don't show any movement. Very important. In this particle just vibrate. Means what is vibration? Vibration is to and fro motion. They can move to and fro, but they can't leave their original position. Very important. As they are not able to leave their position, they are not able to flow. Flow means they are not able to change their shape. Why? To change the shape, I need to move these particles. Okay, but as these don't move, so not flowing. See, my dear student, anything which is not changing its shape are called as rigid material. Very important, are called as rigid material. We have seen water and vapor were flowing because they were fluids. This is not flowing because its particles are not changing its shape. It is a rigid material. Very important, not flowing, or you can write not a fluid, or you can write rigid stuff means does not change shape. Very important, its shape will be same, so its volume is also same. Volume is same volume will be there. See, my dear students, as there is very much less space or highly negligible space between them, if I try to compress it from all the side, it will not get smaller in size. As you can see in football, if I compress it, it gets smaller in size. Yes or no? What is shape changes? But in solid, this is not possible. You can't compress a stone. Why? Because there is negligible space. If you will compress it, there's no space. Yes or no? So this cannot be compressed. Yes, if these are particles and there is a space between them, this space between them, and if I compress it, yes, they will get closer and they will be getting compressed, but there is no space here, so it cannot be compressed. Okay, my dear students, see, solids, their fixed volume, fixed shape cannot be compressed. Very important, dear students, we need to get to know many things by this. They have high density. High density means in a small volume there are many particles. Just let's take an example. This and this volume is same. If I am having many particles here, so its density is high. What is density? Mass upon volume. Whereas if less particles are there, its density is less. Its density is less. For example, this much volume of an iron slab and this much volume of a gas. Obviously, this thing will be heavy. Why? Because as it is solid, it is having more weight or more density. Why? Because particles are quite large and here particles are less. Obviously, if in a bus there are 100%, it will be heavier, and if in a bus there are only 20%, it will be lighter. Very important, there is a kinetic energy. We must need to know what is kinetic energy. Any energy due to movement or speed, or either you can use the term velocity, then this is known as kinetic energy. Anything moving, it it is having kinetic energy. It is moving more, it is having more kinetic energy. It is moving less, it is having less kinetic energy. So as these particles are not able to move, they are having very less kinetic energy. Dear students, very important, as particles in solid are not able to move, they are having very less kinetic energy. The reason is that they don't have the space to move. If there would have been any empty space, they would have moved. For example, if your class is fully filled with students, all the students are sitting on floor, you can't move easily. But if the class is empty, except no one is there, you can very easily move here and there. So as there is no space, moreover they are not able to move. Why? Because these bonds are very strong and they don't allow it to move here and there. They can just vibrate. They can't change their shape, they are rigid, they are having high density. These things must be kept in mind, dear students. All the things depends on this. In solids, very strong force of attraction. Space, negligible. Movement, very less. Okay. Now we will see about liquids. Now we will see about liquids. Liquids. Very important. See, dear students. Same thing. Attraction. Space and movement. See, my dear students, if I am writing movement, means I can also say kinetic energy. More is the movement, more is the kinetic energy. Zero is the movement, zero is the kinetic energy. Means kinetic energy is the energy which is possessed by anything which is having velocity. Okay. Liquids. First of all, we will write these three things and then we will decide leftover things. Okay. Liquids. Yes, there is a force of attraction between the particles, but not as strong as solid. In solid, this force was very strong. In this, there is a force of attraction, but a bit lesser or weaker than solids. Space, more space than solid. More space than solid, less force of attraction than solid. Movement, as there is weak force of attraction, they can move easily, means they can move more easily than solid. They can very easily move, that is more easy movement than solids. More easy movement than solids. See, dear students, in this, particles are having force of attraction, but they don't only vibrate, they very easily leave their position, go here and there, but they can't escape their volume. It means if I am having a liquid here, the particles of liquid or water can very easily move within the volume, but they can't escape it. Why? Because these other particles will attract it and it will come back. It is not free to move. Okay. Very easy movement within this. Okay. See, now one by one we will write the things. Force of attraction less than solid. Space less than solid. Movement more than solid. So very important, as movement is more than solid, it is having more kinetic energy as compared to solids. Very important, as there is space between them, more space. More space means it is more empty as compared to solid, so less density compared to what? Compared to solid. Very important, liquids what they do is that they have fixed volume. Fixed volume means these particles will remain in this much area only, but their shape can be changed. Changes shape. How? If you put into them into any container, for example, see, if I am having the beaker and up to this level I put the water, and after that if I put water in a this type of vessel, it will take shape of this. After that if I put water in this type of material, water will take shape of this. After that if I put water in stuff like this, it will take shape like this. Again if I put back into a beaker like this, it will take shape of this, and the level will be same. Level will be same means I have put the same amount of water, so the volume remains the same, but the shape changes according to the container. Very very important. See dear students, these are the things which you always need to keep in mind. One point is always related to another point by something or via way. Very important. Can this be compressed? My dear students, even though space is available more than space, but they cannot be compressed. Liquids cannot be compressed, or their compressibility is negligible, even though they are having more space than solid. See dear students, now we'll study about gaseous stuff. Example of solid is ice, example of liquid is water, and example of gas is vapor, gaseous state of matter. Attraction is there, very weak attraction, very weak attraction. The attraction is so much weak that it easily flows anywhere it wants. For example, in liquid, they can move but within this volume. But if I put a gas up to this level, automatically these gas particles will escape here and there. Why? See, if I am using a perfume, if I just press that, you can see air particles moving freely. Why? They are having force of attraction, but there is very very weak and they very easily escape the container. Water takes the shape of the container. Means in whatever thing you will put into this, it will take the lower part of that. But what air will do is that it will leave that part if kept open. Very important. If any container is open, liquid never leaves that, but what happens is that water leaves the gaseous state leaves that place and goes here and there. Space, a lot of space, a lot of space, lot of space. As I am myself into the air, see, I am in this space. Air is having so much space that I am standing in the room. Air is there, air is gaseous in state, and see, I am standing in the room. So much space is there available in the air particles. Movement, very easy movement. You might have seen wind blowing, yes or no? Have you ever seen a stone blowing? Never. These particles move very easily, very free movement. Movement is a lot. Movement is large, very large. So automatically kinetic energy is also large. Kinetic energy is large. Very important. Can it be compressed? Yes. See, if these are gas particles and I if compress this, means I apply pressure, these particles will come closer to each other and will get compressed. Very easily will get compressed. They can flow very easily wherever they want to go. They can flow means they have fluidity. No fixed volume. their volume is not fixed. You might have seen LPG cylinder. Up to this cylinder, whole gas is there. If you open the cylinder or just break this seal, your whole of the room, whole of the house will be covered by this gas. Means gas never have fixed volume. It can take this much space, it can take this much space. Moreover, it also don't have no fixed shape. It keeps on changing its shape. For example, see, if there is a perfume here, if I just press it from here, air will go in this. See, it is taking such a type of shape. Before this, it was into a cylindrical shape. Whatever shape it will get, the container means air or gas is free to take any type of shape. They just take the shape of the container. If my room is cuboidal, then they will take a cuboidal shape. If my room is cylindrical like a cylinder, they will take a cylindrical shape. If I am having open ground, they will spread it each and every place. Means the particles are free to move, and whatever shape they take is the shape of the container. Very important. Liquid also take the shape of container, but of the lower part. Okay. More important is that air gets free and even leaves if the container is open. So my dear students, this was the three different stuffs we were studying. Okay. See now, very important, compressibility. We can see the compressibility of the gases. Gases are very easily compressed. How they can be compressed is that if there is solid here, if here it is liquid, and here it is gas. If I press them, if I press them or put a pressure, solid particles, they don't have space between them, so it cannot be compressed. Yes, liquids have space between them, but this space obviously will not allow to get itself lesser enough. This space will be maintained, it cannot be compressed. But if it is a gas air, very easily if I put the pressure on this piston, this piston will come up to this level, and the space between the gaseous particles will become lesser, it means gas can be compressed. Gas can be compressed. How? Because there is a lot of space between the particles. If I press it, these particles will come closer and it will take lesser space or volume. But in solids and liquids, this thing cannot be done. Most important is that pressure applied by this gas is very much high. Not the pressure external, but pressure applied by gases. For example, if there is a balloon and I blow air into it, what I have seen is that the more air I blow, it becomes larger in size. Why? When these particles, very important, when these particles of air go into balloon, as they are free to move, they go and hit the walls of the container or walls of the balloon. When they hit these walls, we ourselves know when I hit something, I am applying pressure on it or force on it, because of which the balloon size keep on increasing. See my dear students, gas particles are very much free, so they very easily go and hit the walls, because of which our container or the balloon will grow in size. But as liquid and solid particles are not that much free, so they cannot easily hit it, and because of which it will not get that much larger in size. See my dear students, we fill air in the tubes of the our vehicles. Why? When we fill the air goes into tube and starts hitting the tube, because of it tube gets pressure or force form inside and gets larger in size. Okay. If I would have put any liquid or solid into it, it would have not taken so much size, or it would have not got so much pressure from inside, and it would have not got that much perfect in shape. What happens is that whenever, for example, this is any material and if I put air into it, it will get more pressure, and if I put water and solid into it, it will not get that much pressure. Why? Because these particles don't move, they will be at their places, and liquid particles move but not that much freely. But what air particles do is that they go and start hitting the walls. Hitting the walls means applying force or pressure, okay, and because of which they start expanding. So pressure by gas is largest, lesser in liquid, and least in solid. Okay, my dear students, now we just need to see, can this state of matter be changed? The answer is yes. See, my dear students, before we do this whole thing, we just need to understand what is temperature. Temperature. Temperature is nothing but the amount of heat. What is temperature? Temperature is a measurement of amount of heat. More is the temperature, more is the heat. Less is the temperature, less is the heat. Or we can say about the hotness or coldness of any material. If something is hot, it means it is having more heat and it is having high temperature. You have already done this topic in 7th standard. If something is cold, it means it is having less heat and it is having low temperature. As nowadays we come to know that in afternoon the temperature is high, it means more heat is present in our surrounding or the day is hot. Okay. So SI unit, we all are using degrees Celsius. In our life, we are using degrees Celsius, represented by degrees Celsius symbol. But the most common other scientists use is Kelvin. Degree Celsius means in this values are also present in negative value, 0 degree, and positive value. We have come to see that in Jammu Kashmir it is -10 degree, -20 degree, and at our Rajasthan and all it is 50 degree. Many times at Rajasthan it goes to 0 degree. But in Kelvin it is always a positive value. Actually, 0 degree Celsius is equivalent to 273 Kelvin. 0 degree Celsius in this scale is equivalent to 273 Kelvin in this scale. Okay. So very important. There is a relation between Kelvin and this. Kelvin equals to degree Celsius plus 273. Very important. Why scientists use this value is that all the possible temperatures on the earth cannot be negative in Kelvin. Yes, they can be negative in Celsius, -10, -50 degree in Siberia. Many places the Celsius temperature is in -50. But in -50, if we add 273, we will get a positive value. So Kelvin is used by scientists because all the temperatures are in positive value. In our daily life, we are using degree Celsius. Okay. Now we will see, can state of matter be changed? And the answer is yes. Can the state of matter be changed? The thing is that we have ourselves seen that state of matter depends on force of attraction, second thing is space between the particles, and movement of particles. See, my dear students, as we have seen, these three things are the things which decide whether a thing will be solid or a matter will be solid, whether a matter will be liquid or whether a matter will be gaseous. So the thing is that can we change anything from solid to liquid or liquid to gas? Means can we change force of attraction in space between them or movement between them? Because if we change anything of these things will be changed. Got it? Changing these properties will change the state of matter. So very important, can these states of matter be changed? The answer is yes, and this can be done with temperature, change in temperature and change in pressure. My dear students, by changing the temperature or by changing the pressure, we can change something from solid to liquid or liquid to gas. Why? Changing the temperature and changing the pressure changes these properties. That's why very important. Okay, so now we will see how these changes are taking place. We will see one by one. First of all, we will see the effect of temperature. If any solid is there, my dear students, just get it. If I am heating something, then you must get it that I am giving these particles kinetic energy, or in other simple language, if I am heating something, means I am increasing the movement of the particles of that matter. In 7th standard, we have seen if I am heating a rod from here, it gets heated from this side. Why? When I am heating, these particles start moving. Means more is the heating, more is the movement. When these start vibrating or moving, these next particles, this next particle, and the end particles start moving. Heating is movement, movement is heating. Just memorize this thing. So if solids are there and I heat these solid, that is what will happen is that this movement will increase. They will vibrate, 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 more heating, vibrate, vibrate, vibrate. And one point will come when this vibration will be so much that they will be now free to move. Normal heating, 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 vibration increase, and this vibration will increase so much that now this will be free to move. Means their force of attraction will get a bit weaker. Okay, so these will start moving, and this force of attraction will get a bit weaker, and what will happen is that these particles will get free to move, but they are not that much free to move that they can leave this place. They are only free to move within this volume. Very important. As they become free to move within this volume, this solid gets converted into liquid, and this process is known as melting or fusion. Very important, my dear students. This process is known as melting or fusion. So what is melting? Melting is a process in which solid changes into liquid. How this thing takes place? By increasing temperature or by heating the solid. Okay, if I heat a liquid, these are the particles of liquid. These particles are free to move. If I heat up these particles, they are having force of attraction. Now I started heating liquid. More is the heating, more is the movement. Now they will move. More heating, more fast movement. More heating, more fast movement. More fast movement. If I keep on heating, few particles will gain so much speed in the movement that they will just escape this area. That they will just escape this volume. more heating, more movement, and one time the energy will so much large, means the kinetic energy movement will be so much large that this will leave this place, and when particles are free to leave this place, they will get converted into gaseous form. So when liquid gets changed into gaseous form, it is called as boiling or vaporization. Reverse thing happens if I decrease the temperature. Decrease the temperature means if decrease the temperature. It means if I do the cooling, see, take ice out of fridge, the temperature will rise, it will be at room temperature now, so melting will happen and ice will get converted into water. The best example is ice getting converted into water. If we heat the water, it gets boiled or vaporization starts and it gets converted into water vapor. If water vapor, see, if I decrease the temperature or cool it down, decreasing temperature means decreasing heat or making it less. Less will be the heat, less will be the movement. As this movement will be less, they will try to settle. They will try to settle means if this movement, see, a lot of movement, it will break away. Less is the movement, only this much area to move. Means if gas particles are cooled down, cool down means less heating. I am telling the just opposite of this. First, as the movement was very large, it left it. It is having large energy. But when I will cool this movement will become less and it will not be able to escape it, and all these things will be converted into liquid. This process is known as, when gases are converted into liquid, this process is known as condensation. This process is known as condensation. The best example is that if there is a beaker and we are having ice in it, as water vapor is present in the environment, so what will happen is that as this place is quite cool, and when we cool the vapor, it gets converted into liquid, and you can see that water droplets are here. Okay, so gases when cooled gets converted into liquid. This process is known as condensation. And when liquids are more made to cool up or heating is done less, what will happen is that when they are liquid, they are having some movement or free to move. But when we cool down them, means we are doing less heating. Less heating means less movement. This movement on cooling a lot becomes so large, so less that they are not even moving now. More heating, more movement. Less heating, less movement. So as the movement is less, means I am cooling it down, the movement will become very less, very less, very less, and one time will come that this movement will be negligible and this will not leave its place and it will get converted into solid, and this process is known as solidification or freezing. So dear students, by increasing temperature, solid gets converted into liquid called as melting or fusion. Further increase in the temperature will start boiling or vaporization. On cooling means reversing the process. When gas is cooled, they gets converted into liquid called as condensation. Further cooled, this liquid will converted into solid called as solidification or freezing. So this was the process by which you are changing the state of matter by changing the temperature. Now very important, one special process is there known as sublimation. Very important, sublimation. What is this process? It is a process in which any solid directly gets converted into gaseous form without coming into liquid form, without coming into liquid form, that is gas sorry solid if heated will not convert into liquid, directly get converted into gaseous form. If this gas cool down will not come into liquid phase, will directly come into solid phase, and this process is known as sublimation. Solid directly getting converted into gaseous form and gas directly converted into solid form. Both the processes are sublimation. Very important why this thing happen is that if there is a solid, example is camphor, naphthalene balls. Naphthalene balls we keep in our clothes so as to prevent them from moth attack. You might have seen white balls. When we keep them into our clothes, they are solid, but after 10 or 15 days you will see they will smaller in size. After 2 or 3 months they will fully disappear. They in this process never gets converted into liquid, they directly gets converted into gas. Why? See, if this is any solid, when we heat them, what happens is that their movement increases, and as they leave their place, they gets converted into liquid. And if I heat more, this movement will be so large that it will escape and convert into gas. But what happens is that if I heat a sublime material, the material which do sublimation like naphthalene balls, what will happen is that when I heat, all of a sudden the movement will be so large that without getting converted into liquid, it directly goes converted into gas. Means the movement increases all of a sudden, and this movement is so much large that without getting converted into liquid, it directly gets converted into gaseous form. Similarly, while cooling, this movement decreases all of a sudden so much that this gas directly gets converted into solid. Its example is naphthalene balls, camphor. Okay, my dear students, we have seen that how temperature is affecting the change in state of matter. Similarly, pressure is also affecting. Pressure change can also affect it. Now we will see change in pressure. Solid, liquid, gas. If pressure is applied, that is increasing pressure. If we increase pressure, gas gets converted into liquid. But increasing pressure cannot change liquid into gas. As of now, for 9th standard, you no need to do this. Okay, in higher standard, we will doing this. And if we decrease pressure, then the liquid can be converted into gaseous form. My dear students, when gas is being converted into liquid, along with increasing pressure, we need to do cooling also. Why, we will see. See how gas on increasing pressure gets converted into liquid. Best example is LPG. See, if there is a gas, if I apply pressure on this, you can see a lot of space is there. The space get reduced and all these particles will come up to this place, only up to this place. See, now as this space has reduced, this thing has got converted into liquid. Means if I increase the pressure, gas gets converted into liquid. Why I need to do cooling? See, when we press, see, increasing pressure is called as compressing. When I compress this or apply pressure on this, when I do this pressure work, these particles move a lot, start hitting the, as we all know that particles of gas hit the walls. See, there is an open ground. 10 players are playing. If I reduce the area of the ground, these 10 persons will also start colliding with each other. Getting it? And if I just make a room to play 12 players, automatically they will collide to wall many times, they will collide to each other. Because of this collision and friction, there is a rise in temperature. So to minimize the effect of rise in temperature, cooling needs to be done. Okay. So when we apply the pressure, this gas gets converted into liquid. The best example is your LPG cylinder. What is being done in LPG cylinder is that lot of gas is put by pressure into this much small area. Very important. If we decrease the pressure, just open the lid of the gas cylinder. This liquid will again get converted into gas. Very important. Its best example is dry ice. What is dry ice? It is the solid form. It is best example of sublimation. Solid form of carbon dioxide, when pressure is decreased, solids gets converted into gas. Okay. The best example is this carbon dioxide gets converted into gaseous form. You might have seen in many functions we see a white cloudy gas being released, and when you open the fridge refrigerators of the big shops, not our home refrigerators, they are having CFC, but you might have seen that deep freezer, when you open it, a gas is coming. It is nothing but carbon dioxide. In that fridge there is dry ice, it is solid in form, white colored. When you open this, then there is a decrease in pressure and the solid gets converted into gas. Temperature and pressure, both the thing affects the state of matter. Increasing or decreasing both of these leads to change in the state of matter. Very important. Latent heat of fusion and latent heat of vaporization. What is latent heat? Latent heat is hidden heat. See, my dear students, as we have seen, now we need to see latent heat. Latent heat means hidden heat. I will let you know how this is called as hidden heat. See, what is latent heat? We know what is melting. Yes, melting is a process in which any solid gets converted into liquid. See, at 0 degree Celsius, below this, minus 20 degrees Celsius, minus 10 degrees Celsius, what is the temperature below this? Water is in ice form. And whatever the temperature is higher than this, between the 100, less than 100, at 10 degrees Celsius, at 20 degrees Celsius, or whatever temperature, it is in water form. See how had this thing taken place. What is latent heat? If ice is there and I am heating this, okay, I am heating this, minus 20 degree, by heating temperature rose to minus 10 degree, minus 5 degrees Celsius, minus 1 degree Celsius, and as it becomes 0 degrees Celsius, what I saw is that for 5 to 10 minutes I have seen that the temperature is not rising, it is continuously 0 degree. Where is this then energy going. I am heating, but then also temperature is not increasing. Why? Again I am telling you, temperature is related to kinetic energy or movement. As we have done, rod heated, vibration increased, vibration here, heating there. So temperature more, more movement, less temperature, less movement. See what happens is that, what is latent heat? Heat is the heat which never increases the temperature. What it do is that it just converts the solid into liquid. This how, let us know. See, at minus 20 degree also it is solid, minus 10 degree also it is solid, minus 5 degree it is also solid. Yes or no? But at 0 degree it is solid also and liquid also. Very important. See now, I will just let you know, first of all I will let you know the latent heat of fusion. Latent heat of fusion. What is latent heat of fusion? See my dear students, this is the heat required to convert solid into liquid. I'll just let you know what is latent heat of fusion. See, solid ice minus 50 degree, I am heating it, got converted into minus 10 degree, temperature rose, then a level came 0 degree. At 0 degree I am heating this ice, but the temperature is not rising. It means the heat I am giving, where it is going, it is not rising the temperature, where it is hidden. Very important. See, at this area, I am not talking about 0 degree Celsius. Let's say this is ice. When I was heating this, what was happening? More heat, more movement. More heat, more movement. More heat, more movement. I was heating, movement was there, more movement, and due to more movement, the temperature was rising. Temperature was rising. More is the movement, more is the temperature. But when it came to C, when it came to 0 degree, there are two things. One is this force of attraction, and one thing is movement. See, below 0 degree, minus 10, minus 20, below 0 degree, the heat was used in giving movement. As it was doing movement, more heating, more movement, and this more movement was increasing temperature. But at 0 degrees Celsius, this heat is now not used to increase the movement. This heat is now used to break this bond. Very important. And as this bond breaks, this solid converts into liquid. Very important. As now this heat is being used to break this bond, there is no effect on movement and there is no temperature rise. Got it, dear students? And what happens is that, until and unless, see, this is complete ice. First this bond will break, then this bond will break, then this bond will break, then this bond will break. So until this ice fully converts into liquid, there will be no temperature rise. Why? First heat will be used to break this bond, then this bond, then this bond, then this bond, then this bond. Half ice converted into water. Now as all the bonds break, the complete ice is converted into water, and now the temperature will start rising. How? These bonds are broken now, and now as these bonds are broken, again this heat will be used for the movement of particles, and the more is the movement, temperature will rise. Very important. What is latent heat of fusion? Latent heat of fusion is the amount of heat required to convert 1 kg of solid into liquid without rising the temperature. Very, very important. Now see, my dear students, whenever a solid ice needs to be converted into liquid, I need to give this latent heat. Why? I have to break the bonds. Why? Because if bonds are not broken, they will be solid. If I break the bonds, they will get converted into liquid. But to break the bonds, this latent heat needs to be given. Very important. See, ice plus latent heat equals to liquid. So very important. Who is having more amount of heat? Liquid. Just for example, 10 kg weight is of a boy A and 50 kg weight is of boy B, and 50 plus 10 is kg, that is 60 kg is weight of boy C. So who is more heavier? This boy C. So ice is having some energy, whatever energy, plus latent heat. If I give latent heat to ice, then it gets converted into liquid. It means liquid is having more energy. Very important question. If I take ice at 0 degree and I take water at 0 degree, which is having more energy? Water. Why? Because this water is also having latent heat of fusion. Very important. Now I will see what is latent heat of vaporization. Latent heat of vaporization. Dear students, this is similar like latent heat of fusion. Now we will see latent heat of vaporization. First of all, what is vaporization or boiling? When any liquid gets converted into gaseous form. See, similarly, if I am having a thermometer here and I am heating now water, what I saw is that thermometer temperature came to 30 degree, 40, 50, 60. As it came to 100 degrees Celsius, water started boiling, means started getting converted into vapor. So what I saw is that this temperature is not rising until and unless this beaker gets empty. Why? Because this heat is being going into latent heat of vaporization. Means, see, these are particles. When I just started heating these, the temperature was 40 degrees Celsius. I heated it more, movement increased. Okay, see, these are particles. This heat is going to movement increased. As movement increased, heat or temperature increased, heat or temperature increased, heat or temperature increased, 40 to 50, 60, 70. As it came to 100 degrees Celsius, 100 degree is the boiling point of water, 0 degree was the melting point of ice. See, now this movement is so large that all of a sudden this bond breaks and they separate out, particles separate out, means at 100 degrees Celsius, now this energy is being used to break this bond. Very important. As this energy is now used to break this bond, there is no effect on movement and there is no rise in temperature. See, at 100 degrees Celsius, first this bond will break and this will become vapor and go. Then this bond will break, this will become gas and go, matlab start boiling. So until and unless all the bonds are not broken, there will be no rise in the temperature, and this is the latent heat of vaporization. That's why water plus latent heat of vaporization, then this will get converted into steam or vapor. My dear student, water plus heat equals to steam. It means steam is having more energy. Why? Because water plus steam. Water is having energy E. This is also having energy E. These two E are present in single steam. Means steam is having two E's, more energy. That's why question comes, if water of 100 degrees Celsius falls on our hand or steam at 100 degrees Celsius, याद रखना, just memorize, at 100 degrees Celsius liquid gets converted into gas form. So if 100 degrees Celsius water is poured on my hand and 100 degrees Celsius steam is made to fall on my skin, in which I will have severe burns, the answer is steam. Because steam is having extra energy than water, and that is latent heat of vaporization. Okay, my dear students, now we will see what is vaporization. See, there is a bit difference in vaporization and boiling. There is a bit difference between boiling and vaporization. You need to understand this process. For example, boiling of water is at 100 degrees Celsius, but vaporization even takes place at normal temperature. When you put a bucket, after 3 days, the bucket is empty. Why? Because the water present in that bucket has got converted into vapor. Means vaporization even takes place lower than boiling point. Second thing, vaporization is a surface process. Surface process means if there is a water here you can see this is the open surface of water. Only at this place vaporization will take place, whereas boiling is a bulk process. In boiling, whole complete amount of water is included in the process, whereas in vaporization only this open surface is being taken into consideration. So this is the main difference between vaporization and boiling. So okay dear students, now we will see what is vaporization. Very important. Vaporization is a process. Very important. Vaporization is a process in which a liquid, आप इसमें water ले लो, it's far better. If you consider here water, it is much better to you to understand. Liquid gets converted into gas, that is water gets converted into water vapor below the boiling temperature. Below the boiling temperature. It means even below the boiling temperature, that is boiling temperature of water is 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, even below that this water gets converted into vapor. Why? See, there are many particles. Okay, each particle is free to move. This can move here and there, this can move here and there, this can move here and there. See dear student, all the particles weight is on the lowest particle. Moreover, due to the shape of this container, this particle can't go this side, can't go this side, can't go this side. And here the particle is most free. Here the particle is most free. It is having an open end. It is having an open end to go anywhere. As you can see, these particles are having doing movement. These are open to move. Okay, but these at this open surface are more free than these particles. As they are more free, what happens is that they sometimes gets free. They sometimes gets free and move out of this volume. And as they move out of this volume, they gets converted into vapor. Okay, so now what are the things, that affect the boiling of, factors affecting the temperature, factors affecting the, not the temperature, the vaporizing rate, or factors affecting the vaporizing of a liquid, factors affecting rate of vaporization. Vaporizing depends on what things? First thing is temperature. See my dear students, more is the temperature, more is the vaporization. Rate of vaporization is directly proportional to temperature. That is, more is the temperature, more is the vaporization. Why? Let us see. See, these are particles of liquid. In a hot day, the temperature is more, let's say 50 degrees Celsius at the Junjunu Churu of our Rajasthan, and even it is 45 degrees Celsius or more at Eden. On a hot day when temperature is more, these particles move more. More is the temperature, more is the movement. Due to more movement, it is easy for them to escape this volume, and they gets converted into vapor. So more is the temperature, more is the rate of vaporization. If we wash our clothes and dry them in the sunlight, why they easily gets dried up? The reason is in sunlight the temperature is more. Second thing they depend on is surface area. See my dear students, more is the open area, more will be the vaporization. Very important. Rate of vaporization directly proportional to surface area. That is, see, here open surface area is less, and here open surface area is more. Here you can see 20 particles are free to move open in the air, and here only 10 particles are free to move. So these 20 particles are escaping here in the more open surface area, and as the surface area is less, only 10 particles are able to leave this place. So more the particles will leave, more will be the vaporization. You might have seen when you drink coffee or tea in a cup, to make it colder or to make it less hot, you put this into saucer. Yes or no? Why? Because this gets converted into vapor and leads to cooling. Don't worry, we will see how vaporization process is leading to cooling. And our no, the best example is, if after washing the clothes we try to spread our clothes. See, if I put my clothes like this, and if I put my clothes like this cloth will very easily dry. Why? It is having more open area for the water inside this to get free. Second thing we will see in the wind effect. Third is speed of wind. Speed of wind, very important. This rate of vaporization is directly proportional to speed of wind. That is, more is the wind, more will be the vaporization. How? See, this is our water and these are our particles. Wind is also made up of particles. When wind is in high speed, what happens is that these particles also have high speed. These particles come and hit these particles. See, if I hit this particle slowly, it will move a little, and if I hit this particle highly, this will move very speed. Yes or no? So when the wind speed is quite high, these particles go and hit this place, and when this hit the water, they very easily escape this area. That's why more is the wind speed, more is the rate of vaporization. See how surface area is related. See this much area and this much area. If wind comes, it is able to hit only this much area, and if surface area is more, wind is able to hit more area, and more it hits the water, more will be the vaporization. So surface area, if it is more, then you can see how the rate of vaporization is more. Secondly, wind speed is more, it hits the water to give kinetic energy, or it shifts its momentum. Okay, and these particles leave this place. Very important. Now, humidity. Rate of vaporization is inversely proportional to humidity. More is the humidity, less will the rate of vaporization. How? See, my dear students, very important. What is humidity? Humidity is amount of water, or you can say water vapor in air. See, my dear students, we know the composition of air. Air is made up of dust particles, carbon dioxide, oxygen, and water vapor also is present in the air. How? We can very easily see. If we put a glass of ice, water vapor in the air condenses here, yes or no? Moreover, we have seen whenever we take a mirror and exhale out, you can see wet getting wetter, or that mirror getting wetter. Why? Whenever I exhale, I am exhaling water vapor also. Animals also exhale a lot, so there is water vapor present in the air. Second thing is plants do transpiration. Water gets converted into vapor in land, seas. Okay, so there is a lot of water vapor present in the air. So, what is humidity? Amount of water vapor present in the air. Now see, this is the cloth, and here it is air, and this is the same cloth, and here it is air. See, if humidity is less, what does this mean? If humidity is less, means less water is present in air, and if humidity is more, means a lot of water is present in air. Okay, when in humidity, if my cloth is having water in it, what happens is that as here it is less water, okay, there is enough space, yes or no? So very easily this water will come into air. Okay, if wind blows, it will get vaporized. Why? There is less amount of water in the air, moreover enough spaces are available. But in more humidity, when the humidity is more, already there is a lot of water here in the air, my this water will not get space enough to escape or to come here. There is no space, so this water will remain here and no vaporization will take place. So very important, if humidity is more, vaporization is less, and if humidity is less, vaporization is more. The best example is that in rainy season there is a lot of vapor present in the air, yes or no? So during that time our clothes doesn't get dry up so easily. Why? Because the water in the cloth is not able to escape into the air. Why? Already air is having a lot of water vapor in it. See, my dear student, now we will see cooling by vaporization. Cooling by vaporization. by vaporization. What is vaporization? Any liquid getting converted into gaseous form is called as vaporization. We have already done until and unless liquid is not given latent heat of vaporization, it will not get converted into gas. Why? This latent heat of vaporization breaks the bond between the particles, and then the particles become free to move, and then only they can become or converted into gas. Yes or no? So what happens is that if any liquid gets converted into gas, it requires latent heat of vaporization. So see my dear students, if any liquid is there and it is on any body, let's say on my hand or anywhere, it is on any body. So if this liquid wants to get converted into gaseous form, this liquid requires heat. So what it will do is that it will take heat from this body. Now this heat will make it converted into gas. But when this liquid is taking heat from this body, it means it gets cold or cooler. Means you might have seen, if on your hand if you put petrol, this is your hand and you are putting petrol, you will see your hand is feeling colder. Why? Or cooler. Why? This petrol gets converted into gas. You will see very easily this petrol is getting converted into gas. The reason is that petrol to get converted into gas requires heat, and it had taken heat from our body, and the heat is transferred into this. Our body's heat becomes less and we feel cool. So very important, cooling is always caused by vaporization. Means if there is vaporization process taking on, surely it will lead to cooling. Why? Because when liquid gets converted into gas, it takes the heat along with it and gets converted into gas. And as it absorbs heat, so nearby heat decreases and it causes cooling. Reverse also happen. When gas is converted into liquid, this heat is released, and when liquid converts into gas, this heat is absorbed. As liquid absorbs this gas, sorry, this heat to gets converted into gas, the temperature decreases. This is very common thing. I have given you the example of the saucer. Yes or no? To make cool or to decrease the temperature of tea, what we do is that we keep it for some time. Why? Because when the air will hit this will get converted into vapor, and when this will get converted into vapor, this will get cooler and cooler, and our tea, hot tea, will become less hot. Second thing, many other examples are also there. You might have seen when we sit under a tree, we get a sense of cooling. Why? Continuously transpiration process takes place. What is transpiration? The water in the plant gets converted into vapor. So when this water liquid gets converted into gas, that is vapor, it takes heat from nearby places or nearby area, and as this heat is absorbed, we feel cooling. Okay, dear students, we must wear cotton clothes. We must wear cotton clothes in summer. Why? The reason is that our body is there, our body do sweating. That is a liquid or salty water, you can say. So if air hit this sweat, and if air converts this thing into gas, so what will happen is that this liquid will gets converted into gaseous form. It means it requires heat, and it will take heat from my body, and my body will feel the sense of cooling. If you wear a cotton dress, if you wear cotton dress in summer, cotton dress is having holes in it, So very easily air will come in contact with your skin or sweat, and this thing will get converted into gas and we will feel a sense of cooling. But if I wear a synthetic cloth, so this air will not be able to come in contact with my sweat, and my sweat will not be able to vaporize, and I will feel very hot. Second example is pot, earthen pot. We say matka in our language, yes or no? This earthen pot is having small holes in it. So what happens is that air comes in contact with this. Air comes, gives it kinetic energy. This gets converted into gas, and as this gets converted into gas, this absorbs heat from this, and here this water gets cooled. This is the process. So if vaporization is taking place, surely it is causing cooling, or cooling is caused by vaporization. See my dear students, up to your standard there are only three states, that is solid, liquid and gas. There are also fourth and fifth phases or states of matter, that is plasma matter, and another one is Bose-Einstein condensate. See, what is plasma? We will be just giving. I will be just delivering simple information about that. No need to go that much deeper because it is as of now not in your syllabus. But in further classes, you will be studying regarding this. What is plasma? It is nothing but when free electrons and free ions are quite at low pressure, they form the plasma. We have seen CFL tube, neon tubes, these all are having plasma in that. So when we pass current through that, plasma always gives a spark. Sun and stars are also having plasma in them. It is a fourth state, and one more state is that is Bose-Einstein condensate. That all the things we will be studying in further chapters or further higher studies. Okay, so our chapter is over.